this is the placeholder sprite for Kris. There is unused graphics for Chapter 0, Chapter 8, 9, and 10 in the game's files. This is what the Deltarune logo looks like under normal circumstances. However, in Toriel's house in Deltarune and in the Judgment Hall in Undertale, the Deltarune logo is inverted. These are the only two places where the logo appears this way. The Lukes that appears by Asgore's flower shop is actually labeled as Mike Wazowski in the game files. Based on the hidden lore of the Spamton sweepstakes, it seems that Kris used to be really good at playing the piano. However, upon interacting with the piano in Deltarune, it seems that Kris is actually really bad at playing the piano and is rather upset at the fact that they can't do so. These two images may look similar at first, but there is a difference between them. Let me know in the comments if you see the difference. If you keep refreshing the page in the dog check page on the Deltarune website, eventually you'll get a different dog with new music. These are what Spamton's eyes look like normally. However, Spamton's eye colors are flipped during the Spamton NEO fight. In the Undertale 6th anniversary livestream, a lot of stuff was changed. For example, pain in the vessel creation process was changed to Nacho Flamin' Cheese. Kris's name doesn't appear during the first initial save. Certain sprites in the background have special birthday hats. The top chef explodes, and Burley has unique new dialogue referencing a speedrun he made for Moss% of Super Smashing Fighters. However, there is an even bigger change than all of this combined. In the release of Deltarune Chapter 1 during the final battle, there is one dead pixel in the arena, likely by mistake. So instead of fixing the dead pixel, Toby decided to add more dead pixels in the livestream. As well as in Chapter 2, other developers of the game also put in a dead pixel in the Queen Battle Arena. Originally, according to Toby, Deltarune was planned to be an action RPG. However, he decided against it because he wanted to keep the pacifist system. Lancer was originally going to have a motorbike based on this concept art, but was scrapped because he was too cool. There is also some concept art for Ralsei's manual, but Toby said we shouldn't be taking this seriously because it felt wrong. Also, there used to be a talk system in Deltarune as well, similarly to the cell phone system in Undertale.
I did put a talk function into the game, kind of like the cell phone, but I decided that's too much text bro, but it also messes with pacing.
We all know that in Undertale there isn't a button to run with, and in Deltarune there is. Therefore, the addition of the run button in Deltarune has actually made the game a lot more harder to develop.
Because people can move fast, the rooms need to be bigger. It's hard to make the game not feel empty when you can go so fast.
Lancer has a walk sprite designed for him. However, it was funnier to keep him in the pose you see today, so the walk sprite went unused. Originally, the Dark World and the Light World would have different graphics for a better contrast between the two.
For example, the Light World would be really drab and kind of boring colored, and then in the Dark World, not only would be bright, but the graphics would be more realistic, like Chrono Trigger, or even Super Mario RPG. Yeah, but I think basically if I can't draw it, then it's going to hit a snag because it's so personal. So we ended up keeping the graphics pretty simple.
There's also some more interesting original ideas that Deltarune was going to have. For example, everyone in the Light World was originally going to be humans and monsters in the Dark World.
To increase contrast, I considered having everybody be humans in the Light World and only become monsters in the Dark World, but for a lot of reasons we didn't do that. It would make sense if this game wasn't connected Undertale, but it is so having monsters is weirdly normal.
There was going to be C-Round merchandise released by Fangamer, but they decided against it due to it matching an existing mascot in Japan. Speaking of C-Round, originally in the final battle with them in Card Castle, Rules was going to be on top of them. However, Toby couldn't get it to work because he was making the game by himself at the time. It looks like a similar concept to that battle came back in Deltarune Chapter 2, however, during the Rules battle in Queen's Mansion. Originally in Chapter 1, the initial split up was going to be different based on your actions in the chapter. However, the idea was scrapped and Susie went with Lancer instead because otherwise the the character development wouldn't have worked properly. Toby went through many different ideas and concepts during the Susie jail scene in Chapter 1 before coming up with what is used in the final product.
Originally it was like she had to dress up in a dinosaur kigurumi outfit or something. Don't know what I was going for.
The reason the soul comes from an angle instead of Susie during the split up in Chapter 1 is because Kris is the only one who has a human soul.
That's where Kris is. It's not a bug.
If a character walks out of the map, glass will appear below them so they don't float. Queen's battle in Deltarune could potentially be a reference to Mario and Luigi Partners in Time during the Princess Shroom battle, as they both function similarly with a shield and a floating chair. Speaking of references, the check for Spamton NEO could be a potential reference to the unused room number 271 in Undertale. If you go back to Sham after beating Chapter 2, Sham's shop inventory will change and he will start offering items from Chapter 2. Sham offering upgraded items based on the last chapter completed will be useful in the future, considering the party levels up anytime you seal a dark fountain, as at the end of Chapter 2, Kris and co will be level 3. These level ups only happen in the dark world, as when you go back to the light world after leveling up, Kris will still be level 1. When Noelle joins your party, the save point directly after this will say so. However, when Noelle leaves, the save point will reflect that she has left. If you don't take damage during the first 2 rounds of the Giga Queen fight, in round 3, Queen will have a blue aura around her and her attacks will be much more difficult. However, her defense will also be lowered at the same time. If you take a picture during the Acid Lake section of Deltarune, if you decide to backtrack to Cyberfield, you can find the same camera there and it appears to be broken. If you stare at a plug in Queen's Mansion's basement for an extended amount of time, the plug will start smiling at you. There exists a dog check for each chapter of Deltarune so far. This one in particular uses a sound file called alarm_titlescreen.ogg, which implies that this could have potentially be used for the scrapped Undertale alarm clock. Once you get the box of chocolates from Undyne in Deltarune, you can go to Sands and sell the box of chocolates for $5. During the Spamton NEO battle in the Snowgrave route, Spamton references that NEO is famous for its high defense, which is in reference to Meta NEO in Undertale being able to be defeated with a singular attack. Burnley's battle sprites are slightly different depending on whether you fight him on the Snowgrave route or not. In Snowgrave, he is more serious. In the Spamton sweepstakes, it was revealed that Susie used to bully Kris heavily. One time, Susie was pressuring Kris to speak in a classroom, and they actually did. Once Kris spoke, Susie left the classroom extremely fast. Whatever they said caused Susie to leave them alone, and we have no idea what came out of their mouth. Once you go back to the pottery room in Queen's Mansion, Susie will willingly go and start kicking down all of Queen's pottery. During the Spamton sweepstakes, when asked about Jevil, it was revealed that Spamton knows who Jevil is. And in this dialogue, there's a reference to a post that was made for someone's ex, which could imply that Spamton and Jevil used to be in a relationship of some kind and are now exes. Talking to Noelle about Susie in Chapter 1, where we saw in Noelle giving Susie chalk in Chapter 2, which will then turn into light candy in the dark world. The release date of Deltarune on the Steam page has been updated to coming soon. However, it was then changed again to have a release date of 1969. This was simply because of the Steam store having issues with the New Year's, as soon after, the release date was set to coming soon once again. The winner of the Deltarune Snowglobe in the Spamton sweepstakes was named Among Us. There's 2 doors in the game files for Queen's room and Ralsei's room. However, both have went unused and could likely be used for Chapter 3 and beyond. There's a chance you can hear Sans' voice after pressing A in one of the letter puzzles. There is only one knockable door in the entirety of Cyber City. There is an oversight in Deltarune Chapter 2 where you can spam the max charge yellow soul. Instead of fixing this, the developers of the game decided in an update to make Spamton more angry if you choose to use the oversight. There exists 3 different save file options in Deltarune, and each save file option affects what you find in Asriel's drawer. The Wingdings font was co-created by someone named Kris. This could have lore implications, whatever whatever you think. In the original survey_program release of Deltarune Chapter 1, if you uninstall the game, it would delete the folder it's located in as well. This means that if you install Deltarune in the System32 folder, and then proceeded to uninstall it, you would not just uninstall Deltarune, but you would also delete the System32 folder in its entirety. If you went to Deltarune.com before its announcement, you would get text taken directly from entry number 17. If you went to it in 2016, you would get new text taken from Ralsei's tale from the beginning of the game in Wingding's font. Yeah, that's cool, but check out 10 minutes of useless Undertale information as well.